Palmetto State Armory Dagger.
That's better.
So here it is. This is the Palmetto State Armory Dagger. Kind of hard to get right now if you guys haven't noticed. They are making them and they are selling them to the public, but they're selling out so fast that it's you have a very short window where you can buy it. Before we get started, thanks to Tactical Toolbox for letting me borrow yours, and then thanks to Ted's Shooting Range for providing us a facility to shoot in as well. So this obviously, as you can see, is the green version. It's kind of a olive drab finish on there. Pretty nice, very comfortable gun, but if you haven't noticed, it's pretty much a Glock 19. This is like a form of a Glock Clone. Of course, this one's made by PSA. So one really cool thing I like about this gun in particular is this finger groove right here below the trigger guard. Extremely comfortable grip. So Tactical Toolbox and myself went to Ted's Shooting Range in Queen Creek, Arizona. PSA had sent him a dagger, passed through a bunch of other video creators. And basically that dagger made rounds. They sent him 1,000 rounds of ammunition, various stuff, and then John had a bunch of magazines as well. So essentially what happened was we fired 1,000 rounds in one shooting session through a bunch of different magazines, and we only had one issue, and that was because I was probably limp wristing, but that was one of the big ETS mags, and it was like a 33 rounder, and I'm not used to that weight being on the bottom of a compact gun, I guess. So I guess when I was firing it, it was just rocking back a little too far, maybe not firm enough grip.
6 hour left. We're just gonna, I just wanted to see, because I have a feeling it was our very first shots today, so it may have been a little bit limp wristed. But I just want to see if this magazine isn't causing problems or not, because all the other ones, like we literally got one more ETS mag and nothing has malfunctioned, so. Yeah,
flawless.
I'm gonna chuck.
All right, 15 rounds, dagger. Man, this thing is a very smooth shooter. The ergonomics do feel a little bit different than a Glock. Something about this just feels really, really good. Now, it does kind of have a bit of a flared magwell on the bottom, which is nice. And then again, this finger groove is really, really well placed. Now, what's cool is that it's not like you have a bunch of finger grooves. You just have the one just below the trigger guard. This pin right here has been kind of walking out. So let's see if that travels out a little further. I just did a magazine through it. So let's keep an eye on that pin and see if it actually walks out. I know John mentioned that in his video as well. So right here we have a Glock 19 magazines. We're gonna try the Glock 19 mag. Going for the headshots now. Not too bad. All right, so now we're gonna do another 15 rounds. This one's also through the Glock magazine. We're just gonna do a mag dump. 15 round mag dump on target and see how it feels. Wasn't the fastest mag dump, but they're all on target in the center. So here's what I have so far. All 45 rounds in the paper, that's what's important. 3 mags in this so far, not too bad. So the pin hasn't really walked out any further. So we just went through 50 rounds and it's kind of sitting in that same spot. So we'll see if that keeps moving. Otherwise, so far so good. Not a huge issue. And I bet you could put like a little dab of something there to keep it from walking out. So this does have your standard 3-dot Glock sights on it, and again, very Glock-esque in what you're seeing, though it's not technically a Glock. There are some changes to its design, again, with that one finger groove under here. The trigger loop, or the trigger guard, is a lot different than a Glock as well. Not to mention the trigger itself is this. It's kind of, here, let me make sure it's clear for you guys. So the trigger right here is actually that two-part trigger, and the very tip of that trigger is actually your safety. So you have to make sure you're depressing towards the bottom of the trigger. If you depress towards the top, of course, it's not gonna actuate. Anyways, the bottom, trigger pull's not bad. It's very smooth, very light actually. It feels pretty light. I haven't put it on the trigger weight gauge yet, but not too bad. Very smooth trigger pull. You kind of hit like a little creep, then you're at your wall, and then it breaks. The reset's not horrible. That's your reset. Little travel, then a break. Reset, travel, a little more travel, break. So it's not bad, it feels pretty light. If I had to guess, probably somewhere in the 5-pound range for triggers. It's compatible with Glock parts. Everything in here, these are all Glock internals. So if you can buy a trigger for your Glock, you can buy it for this too, which is pretty nice because there are loads of aftermarket parts and accessories for Glocks, and that's it. So functional, practical, affordable. For the price, I really don't think you can beat it. It's a really good deal, it's a really good value, and it feels like a really good gun. Now, it's a very comfortable shooter. Again, we did 1,000 rounds with the one issue with a 33 round ETS mag when I was shooting it, of course. Otherwise, like, this gun feels just, it's basic. There's nothing fancy about it, no frills. Though I do remember at SHOT Show they mentioned that they have a lot of cool models that they were talking about coming out with, so I don't know exactly when they're coming out with those new models. I'm talking about like optics cuts, stuff like that, slide cuts, lightning cuts and all that. So very interesting. But overall, I feel like the Dagger is a very comfortable shooter for somebody that might want to be getting into shooting, somebody that is kind of looking for a budget firearm. I think this is an excellent option, to be honest. That pin hasn't seemed to walk out anymore, but I guess only time will tell, and that could be just very specific to this gun itself too. So who knows? Otherwise, comfy shooter.
She's a little bit hot. We're gonna have to dunk her. That's better.
It's basic. There's nothing fancy about it, no frills. Though I do remember at SHOT Show they mentioned that they have a lot of cool models that they were talking about coming out with, so I don't know exactly when they're coming out with those new models. I'm talking about like optics cuts, stuff like that, slide cuts, lightning cuts and all that. So very interesting. But overall, I feel like the Dagger is a very comfortable shooter for somebody that might want to be getting into shooting, somebody that is kind of looking for a budget firearm. I think this is an excellent option, to be honest. That pin hasn't seemed to walk out anymore, but I guess only time will tell, and that could be just very specific to this gun itself too. So who knows? Thank you all so much for watching. That's what I have for you. Don't forget to tune in to the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to the Mr. Big Kid channel, all about firearms. I'll see you guys later.